Ladies and gentlemen, we are 8 days away from the 2023 African Cup of Nations kicking off, which means this prediction video is overdue, and for that I apologize. But here we are, better late than never. Let's get right into it. But before I do that, you guys make sure you hit subscribe if you want to see more AFCON content on the channel. We are going to be doing some live streams, match reactions, knockout predictions, and all that good stuff. And if y'all could leave a like on the video, that would go a long way because there's some hot takes in this video. I'm just telling y'all now. We're going to go in order of the groups, which means Group A is first. We're going to start at the bottom. In fourth place, I have Guinea-Bissau, unfortunately. Not only have Guinea-Bissau failed to make it out of the group stage at their previous 3 AFCON appearances, they've also never won a game. And I hate to say it, but the arguable group of death at 2023 AFCON is not the time that they're going to break that streak. This group is simply too tough for them. They do have Mama Baldé, but it's going to take more than one parent to get out of this group. I guess the one shining light here is they did beat Nigeria 1-0 recently, and surely that couldn't happen again, could it? And speaking of the Super Eagles, in third place, I have Nigeria. I know that's going to upset a lot of people, but I have to be honest, I don't rate this team at all. This has got to be the most top-heavy team in international football. Now, I promise I have no anti-Nigeria agenda to peddle on this channel whatsoever. I wish that the Super Eagles were better than they actually are, but this team, bro, they're just underperformers. And I was thinking about it, right? I think Nigeria are the only country on earth that can be straight down bad in the mud, crawling on their hands and knees, and still have massive expectations at the same time. I know the Nigerian fan base. I know you guys want a semifinals appearance minimum. Like, just be real. And I don't know if this team can do it, namely because Jose Peseiro has got to be the most fraudulent manager I've ever seen. If you guys are ever at a job where you're like, I don't know if I'm built for this, I don't know if I have the qualifications, never forget that Peseiro was the manager of Nigeria. This guy would be lucky to be managing Curacao, let alone one of the best teams in Africa. And I really think he's just going to put a big old fat cap on the potential of this team. I mean, good Lord, every time I watch Nigeria, I feel like I'm watching the NBA because all I see is a bunch of hero ball, get it up to Osimhen, pray to God he can do something. The only other team I've ever seen play the hero ball that Nigeria plays is Ghana, and we're going to get to those boys later. So yeah, I got Nigeria in third. Y'all can clown me in the comments. I do think they will go through, I hope, as one of the best third place teams. That's what I gotta say. In second, that means I do have Equatorial Guinea. I know I'm putting my balls on the line here, but these boys don't play around. And these guys have zero pressure to perform. I mean, the island isn't even big enough to get them trending on Twitter if every single citizen tweeted at the same time. This team is fantastic at keeping games close, and that's what you need at AFCON. It's okay if you lose, but you gotta lose by 1 goal. If you can get a draw against the big teams whenever possible, that's massive. And Equatorial Guinea are built to play that style of football. They made the quarterfinals last time. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that again. It depends on their round of 16 draw, of course, but yeah, I got them in second. And in first place, I do have the host of the tournament, Cote d'Ivoire. I just think these guys are too good. It's very rare in African football that you find a team that the entire starting 11 is pretty sound, and that is what the Ivorians are bringing to this tournament. On top of being the hosts, and barring catastrophes that have happened in the past, the hosts usually do all right at AFCON. And I think Ivory Coast is one of the most disrespected attacks in world football. I mean, the fact that you can leave a guy like Wilfried Zaha out of your AFCON squad and it doesn't really matter that much, that speaks volumes. And the last thing I want to say is, again, nobody's really talking about Ivory Coast. I've been reading a lot of blogs. I've been seeing a lot of videos. I don't see anybody saying, oh yeah, Ivory Coast favorites for their own tournament. And so I'm cool with that. I say we just let them move in silence. I think that's what they're going to do, and they're going to get the job done. I expect 7 to 9 points from this group. Moving on to Group B. Ooh, let's cool down a little bit. In fourth, I got Mozambique. I think these guys are happy to be here. I think it's an achievement that they made it this far, but I think the party ends soon. I said in the last group that Guinea-Bissau are winless in 9 games at AFCON. Well, Mozambique have them beat there. They're winless in 12. Now, I will say Mozambique probably have a prayer, right, against Ghana, who are tactically clueless, and Cape Verde, who seem to play up or down to their competition depending on the team. But if Mozambique make it out of this, man, that is an achievement. And in third place, it is time for me to upset the other half of English-speaking African fans, and I got Ghana. And this one really pains me because I really want the Black Stars to be good, but I'm telling you right now, this team stinks. I cannot believe when I watch Ghana how bad these guys look time and time again. And I know some people are going to say, oh, you're talking about the USA or the Mexico game. We only brought a couple first-team players. No, I'm talking about when you guys played Central African Republic. I know Ghana ended up winning the game, but that's because of individual brilliance, not because this team is good. And this hero ball crap doesn't work at AFCON. The average African team is too good for you to just keep playing long balls up top to Kudus and hope that he beats 3 guys off the dribble. Chris Hutton, again, I just think is clueless. I mean, I'm looking at his CV in 9 games in charge. Literally, his best win with Ghana is against the Central African Republic, or maybe Angola, and neither game was particularly convincing. Not only is the offense going to be completely reliant on Mohamed Kudus, let's be very clear about that, and Yaki Williams has done F all with the national team, and the Ayew brothers are still pivotal to this team's success. I mean, it's not looking good. And I really hate saying that, man. Ghana are my favorite African team. It's painful to me. I hope I'm wrong, but I got them in third. Because even outside of the dysfunctional offense, I'm looking at the defense, and the only team they can keep a clean sheet against is Madagascar. And similar to Nigeria, they're always going to have that fan base that is hungry and demanding results. There is no downtime as the Black Stars. You have to perform. You're one of Africa's best ever teams. You don't have that luxury to just kind of creep around in the shadows. And you know Mozambique and Cape Verde are going to get up for this game. Come on. So yeah, I got them in third. I'm sorry. That means in second, I got Cape Verde. And like I said, they play up to their competition all the time. They rarely have a bad loss on the resume. Just a very tough, underrated team at AFCON. Looking at some of the results recently, a 1-0 loss to Ecuador, one of the more informed teams in South America right now. They beat the brakes off Burkina Faso 3-1, who's a dark horse for this tournament, drew Morocco, and beat Bahrain. And in first place, I got Egypt. I mean, the Pharaohs, bro. These guys just do not play games whatsoever. I don't even understand how Egypt are good. The only thing I can chalk it up to is like insane ball IQ, understanding of the game, and ridiculous squad cohesion that seems to only exist in North Africa for some reason. They made it to the final in 2021 and they never really ever, even for a 5-minute stretch, played beautiful football, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They were a penalty shootout away from lifting the damn trophy. And the craziest part is they don't even need Mo Salah to go off like he does for Liverpool, and they still do well. I mean, I was looking at his stats. He's got like 6 goals in 20+ games of the tournament, and it doesn't matter. Egypt have every right and excuse to play like Nigeria play, to play like Ghana play, and they say, nah, we're going to play team ball. And that's why they're good, and that's why I see them taking 9 from this group. I'm not saying they're going to be convincing wins. I wouldn't be shocked if every single one is a 1-0 snooze fest, but that's how the Egyptians like it. In Group C, in 4th place, I got Gambia, and this one sucks because I think Gambia are the best pot 4 team, but they did land in, the hardest freaking group at the tournament. Could they possibly go through as a 3rd place team? I think they might have a shot because some of these other teams I'm going to talk about, they're definitely beatable. But Gambia, yeah, I hate to say it. I'm already making enough hot takes in this video. I'm not about to say Gambia finished 2nd. And speaking of hot takes, in 3rd place, I do have Cameroon. And I know some of y'all like, this brother is not serious. He has made a mockery of AFCON prediction videos. But I'm telling you, man, I've been selling Cameroon for a while, and I'm too damn stubborn to change my mind. I remember watching them at last AFCON when they hosted the tournament, got the easiest schedule I've ever seen in the history of a continental tournament. I mean, the hardest team they played was Burkina Faso, and if Burkina Faso didn't choke in the 3rd place match, Cameroon were getting 4th. Similar to Nigeria, it's not like I don't rate the talent on Cameroon. I actually think Cameroon should probably be the 3rd best team on the African continent. Brian Mbeumo is one of my favorite players in the Premier League, but unfortunately, my man ain't gonna be playing because he picked up an injury. Also, no Choupo-Moting, the fact that Joel Matip is just like not Cameroonian anymore. Those are big losses. Big losses that maybe a competent manager could cope with, but unfortunately, Cameroon are managed by Rigobert Song. And look, as a player, absolute African legend. I dare not say a negative thing about that man's playing career. But as a manager, it's a little different. It seems like the best thing Song can do is have his team down 3-0 and come back and draw, namely against Burkina Faso and against Serbia at the World Cup. But I don't see any of these teams being up 3-0 against Cameroon, so I don't think Rigobert is going to be able to activate his trap card. In my opinion, Cameroon is going to go as far as Vincent Aboubakar can take them. And actually, looking at the history of books, it hasn't been that long since Cameroon were knocked out in the group, and last time it was 2015, and I looked at that group, it was pretty similar in strength to the one that they got at 2023. I just think it's only a matter of time before this team gets exposed. Will I be proven a fool? Probably, but I'm gonna stick to my guns. In second, I got Guinea, and this take is scorching hot because Guinea's form is not good. Now, the one positive spin that I can come up with on the fly for this is their friendly schedule has been tough, bro. There's not a lot of African teams that could have the friendly schedule of Guinea and get away with it looking good. Last thing about Guinea is I like that their squad is pretty even throughout. It's not like one area of the pitch is vastly better than the rest. I do think they will be tough to beat, and I don't think they have any expectations at all. And so for those reasons, I do see them finishing second. And in first place, I do have the defending champion Senegal. Maybe it's just me, but I've been a little offended at how much disrespect I've seen Senegal shown as the defending defending champions when it comes to favorites for this tournament. I swear everybody and their mom says Morocco is just gonna dog walk this tournament, and I think that's crazy. Outside of the star players that we all know, I don't need to talk about Sadio Mane or Koulibaly or Pape Sarr. I don't need to mention these guys. What I really like is that Aliou Cisse has been there for a minute now. What is this, his 4th major tournament with Senegal? This is a guy who's deeply respected by the players. He's a great man manager. He's going to bring that sense of calm if Senegal do happen to go down in the game, just like, hey guys, we've been here before. Do Senegal play electric football? Hell no. Half the time I'm falling asleep watching these guys play, but who cares? It's effective. Similar to what I said about Egypt, I wouldn't be shocked if Senegal win every game 1-0. What I am very curious to see is if Senegal can shake the curse of the defending champ, because the last time that a defending AFCON champion made it out of the group stage was 2010, and that is just, I mean, it sounds fake, but I think this squad is good enough to do it, even though the group is very, very difficult. In Group D, 4th place, I got Mauritania. They do have some pretty good results against Mali and Gabon leading into the tournament, and I do think they will push Angola for that 3rd place spot. I just don't think they have quite enough. I was looking at the CV of their manager, Amir Abdou, and in 17 games under his tenure, they don't really have a bad loss. Dare I say dark horse? Nah, that would be crazy. Yeah, man, I've said enough hot takes in this video. I ain't about to say Mauritania making the quarterfinals or something like that. Watch them make the quarters now. 3rd place, I got Angola, and I have very little conviction in this. I do think Mauritania might actually be able to leapfrog them here. I watched the full 90 in one of their games against Ghana and thought they looked all right. I don't really know how to scout this team or what insight to provide here. Angola literally is draw FC. Like, they are 0-0 fanatics, bro. And look, I think that would be a great thing if they happen to make the knockouts, because they are difficult to score against, but unfortunately they have Burkina Faso and Algeria as the other 2 teams here, and I think both of them have too much firepower. And if Angola concede first and go behind, can they really play high possession football and get a goal back? I don't think so. But yeah, maybe I'll switch Mauritania and Angola in time, but for now I'm just going to stick with what I have. In 2nd place, I do have Burkina Faso. I think these guys are arguably the most disrespected African team. They always do well, but again, I just think they're missing that like talisman figure, that talisman player that makes the English-speaking media talk about them. Like, I don't know what the knockouts are going to look like, right? But I guarantee you no team wants Burkina Faso in the round of 16. And I tell you what, I am very much looking forward to that Algeria-Burkina Faso game. I mean, the amount of talent on display in that match is going to be insane. That might just have to be a live stream on the channel. I guess we'll see. And in 1st place, I do have Algeria. Look, I am fully on the Algeria redemption arc. I think this team has been through so many trials and tribulations in the last month. How they performed at the last AFCON, not qualifying for the World Cup. They've stuck with their manager. They've said, you are our guy. Now we're about to see if that pays off or not. And I think it will, because this Algerian 11 is stacked. They got guys in the Prem. They got dudes balling all over the place. It's a very good team, and how many times have I said this video? Nobody's talking about Algeria as a potential favorite. Even when Algeria were on that like 30-game unbeaten streak, like nobody knew it was happening. And truthfully, guys, I just can't see a world where Algeria is that bad ever again. In Group B, 4th place, I got Namibia. This is not a national team that I've watched very often. I do know that they beat Cameroon recently, and maybe they can take whatever happened in that game and kind of build upon that tactically, but I don't know. South Africa, Mali, and Tunisia, that's a big ask for these guys. And in 3rd place, I do have South Africa. I do think South Africa will be pushing Mali for 2nd. You know, I had to really think about this one for a while, actually. I think Bafana, I'm not going to say they're back. That might be a little crazy, but their form coming into the tournament is kind of wild. Group B here has just given me some massive 5-point winning the group energy here. Is that just me? Let me know in the comments. The one question mark that concerns me with South Africa is when I have watched them and I only saw 2 qualifiers, they look so wasteful in front of goal. And you might be able to get away with that one time at AFCON. There might be one game where you're just so much better than the other team, it doesn't matter. But if you start pulling that crap in the knockouts, you're going to lose. I mean, look at Nigeria in the last round of 16. God knows how many shots they had against Tunisia. That's just how it goes in this tournament. No Lyle Foster either. I don't really know much about his story. I read something about like mental health problems, so that's very sad to hear. Very, very good player. That's going to be a big miss for them. I don't know. We'll see. In 2nd place, I do have Mali, and Mali of like every team at AFCON are such a wild card to me. I would not fault any of you if you have Mali as your dark horse. They really could beat anybody, but also turn around and lose to like South Sudan. The fact that Ibrahima Kone is out for AFCON, that is a massive deal. In fact, I didn't know that until I had already put my my predictions together. But yeah, that's not good. But for now, I'm going to stick with second just because the midfield is disgusting. Basuma, Hadara, Traore, Doumbia. I mean, good God. And in first place, I got Tunisia. And Tunisia are like Egypt, but even more boring, less talked about, but just as effective. These guys have turned 1-0 wins into an art form. Like, if you could put a 1-0 in the Louvre, it would be probably just the Tunisian national team crest. The Tunisians, for whatever reason, again, insane cohesion, great drilling, the practices are just next level. They don't make mistakes, and for the love of God, do not let the Tunisians score first against you. Because if they do, you are going to lose the game. It's just a fact of life. Death, taxes, and Tunisia bunkering down. Now, make no mistake, this group is going to be a test for Tunisia. They are the pot 1 team, but again, I kind of see them winning this one with 5 points somehow. I think Tunisia's true potential and scare factor doesn't kick in until the knockouts, because these guys are the giant killers. They could genuinely take down Ivory Coast, they could take down Senegal, they could take down Morocco. That's just how they're built. But in the group stage, they can sometimes let them down. Like at the last AFCON, they were the pot 1, but I think they went through as a 3rd place team with like 3 points or something. They were pretty disappointing. So their play style isn't really effective when they have to play a Namibia or a South Africa, when the Tunisians are expected to have more of the ball. So I actually think Group E is going to be very, very interesting, if not for the superstars that are playing, just tactically, what are these games going to look like? And lastly, in Group F, 4th place, I got Tanzania. Again, I just think they're here for a good time, not a long time. I had to go to the ancient papyrus scrolls to try to find a good result from Tanzania, and honestly, I still didn't find anything, and I was back in like 10,000 BC. It was crazy. They did draw Algeria 0-0 recently, but Algeria were already qualified. Were they even trying? I mean, I don't know what the bright spots are here. You know what? They have fire jerseys. I will say that about Tanzania. In 3rd place, I'm going to go with DR Congo. I thought long and hard about DR Congo or Zambia. 3rd, I'm going back and forth. I'll probably change my mind 10 more times after I record this video, but on wax, as they say, I'm going to go with Congo 3rd. And like I said, I'm talking margins here. The loss to Sudan in the qualifier recently kind of scared me. And I still think Congo are a giant dark horse for this tournament. I think they could really do something if they get going, if they play well. But again, when you're losing to Sudan, bro, that's tough for me to look past. They got some ballers on this team too. Chancellor Mbemba, great defender. Visa at Brentford, having a much better season this year than last year. Simone Banza has been absolutely murdering it at Braga, and I didn't even know that until I looked it up. But their manager, Sebastien Desabre, he did take Uganda to the knockouts in 2019, but is the guy elite? Hell no. And I think it really would take a good or elite manager, somebody of like a Hervé Renard level, to get Congo to, you know, make a semifinals or something that I think the team has the potential to do. They are kind of on a revenge tour because they didn't make the last AFCON, but neither did Zambia. And in fact, Zambia haven't made the last 3, so maybe their revenge tour is about to be a little more passionate, you could say. And I will now segue into Zambia, who I do have them finishing 2nd. I was looking at it, not a lot of bad losses. In fact, very few losses, period. But this team just seems to get the job done whenever needed. Zambia's highest profile player is probably Patson Daka at Leicester City, and I think he's one of the many very good players on this team. Their manager is Avram Grant, and I don't know how I feel about that. On one hand, I think he did a decent job with Ghana because he made it to back-to-back semifinals with the Black Stars, made it to a final before losing on penalties against Ivory Coast. But at the same time, it's like, should he have won one of those tournaments? I think the answer is yes, because I watched them, and those were some really good Ghana sides, man. So I kind of feel like saying he underperformed is a little harsh, but can he overperform with Zambia? Well, his CV would suggest no. Damn, am I going to switch Zambia to 3rd? I don't know. You guys are going to have to follow me on Twitter to see my official predictions. And finally, we have the Atlas Lions in 1st place, a team that every single person thinks is going to win AFCON. I could talk about how good Hakimi, Unaki, Amrabat, Aguerd, all these players are, but instead, I kind of just want to talk about the expectations with this team now. Because for the first time, Morocco are going to have serious global expectations. You could argue at the last AFCON, what did everybody say? Oh, dark horse, Morocco. Dark horse, Morocco. But everybody said Senegal favorites, and if they didn't say Senegal, they were saying Algeria. That is not the case anymore. Everybody is looking at Morocco and saying anything less than a finals appearance, big L. Is that totally fair? I don't think so. I think that the World Cup performance was a magical moment, but I think it's being overrated a little bit by a lot of the media. And people will hear that and think that I hate Morocco, which is ridiculous because I literally picked them to win 2021 AFCON. And you guys let me down. I mean, really, if you put an AFCON best 11 together, I'd probably throw 3 Moroccans in there. Similar to Senegal, they have a very good man manager who knows how to rally the troops. The players love him, and that goes a long way at tournaments like this. That is it, guys. That is the video. Those are my super spicy, flaming hot Cheeto AFCON group stage predictions. I know what I'm setting myself up here for. Okay, I know I'm going to get clowned by a lot of people. I've made my bed, and I'm willing to lay in it. But hey, we're just going to have to see when the tournament kicks off. What I love about AFCON is that you never know what the heck is about to happen. There is always, at minimum, one historic team that just absolutely craps the bed. I got several of them doing it in this tournament. We're just going to have to wait and see. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Hit subscribe so you don't miss future AFCON coverage. And I'll see y'all in the next video.